Hey, and welcome back to this cold morning. We're all got an energy shortage, but Britain wants to increase its reliance on nuclear power from its current value up to 25% by 2050. Is that a good thing? As a science researcher, the way I explore the present is looking at the past. So to understand today's choices in choosing nuclear power, we need to understand the choices that were made in the past that led to today. So while researching and checking all my sources for this film, I kept on coming across an old Prof Simon film about Chapel Cross, Windscale and Calder Hall. It has some of the best archive material I've ever seen. So today, let's revisit the history of Britain's nuclear legacy and also discover what Jamie Grant saw hovering over the tritium plant at Chapel Cross.
The rocket cylinder drove it mill.
Trident missiles. Tritium. The Trinity test. Edward Teller. A man on a bicycle. A credible UFO sighting. All at a secret site near the Solway Firth. The tritium UFO. When someone sees a genuine UFO, you won't see it on the news, you'll see it here on YouTube. That's what you're all here for, to see first disclosure of a real UFO. Well, you've come to the right place with this Scottish UFO story. I think that 99% of UFO sightings are not very convincing, but 1% remain credible. Why? To get into the top tier 1%, you have to be a credible witness. The craft has to break the laws of physics and be sighted over a site of significant interest. This sighting meets all those criteria. Who is this man on a bicycle? Where exactly did he have his strange sighting? And what did he see? That is what I'm going to try and answer for you today. But it all started with some dangerous government decisions. Behind the pillars of Whitehall in London, the bigwigs of Britain looked for sites miles away from their home counties to manufacture Britain's most dangerous materials. And this policy has been going on for a long time. In the 1900s, Britain's biggest munitions and explosives factory was built in the Solway Firth area. It made gun cotton, cordite, for World War I. Working in isolated huts, women and orphan children mixed small batches of this noxious stuff. They called it the devil's porridge. How right they were. The Gretna bomb factory turned out their deadly mixtures for decades, until just after World War II, when Britain wanted to join the big boys club and explode their own atom bomb with a Union Jack on it. This raised the explosive stakes, and again, the northwest of Britain drew the short straw. You have all heard of Windscale. With its graphite piles producing plutonium, and lie, that's called Calder Hall.
Today, Her Majesty the Queen is coming to Calder Hall to open Britain's first atomic power station.
Opened by the Queen as Britain's first nuclear power station?
But I now open Calder Hall, Britain's first atomic power station.
But in reality, it's a Magnox-designed reactor to speed up Britain's bomb production. The truth came out when it was revealed Calder Hall was officially codenamed Pippa, pressurized pile producing power and plutonium. In its early life, Calder Hall primarily cooked bomb material in these nuclear cauldrons. A modern version of the devil's porridge? Electricity production was secondary. But what was kept totally secret, embargoed from the press, was a dark twin of Windscale. A second plutonium-producing pile was built on the old World War II training field at Annan. It's called Chapel Cross. Its job to transmute uranium into plutonium away from prying eyes. Chapel Cross was very successful and kept quiet about its task. Loyal and skilled workers kept their mouths shut and shipped their deadly cargo to their bosses at the Aldermaston bomb factory. But soon, atom bombs were not enough. Right from the early days of the Manhattan Project, a super bomb was proposed. While Robert Oppenheimer and General Groves persevered to explode the first atom bomb, a maverick scientist working at Los Alamos lobbied Oppenheimer to build his fission fusion bomb. He called it his hydrogen bomb. Edward Teller is the father of the H-bomb, and he became a thorn in the side of Robert Oppenheimer. Teller even naughtily suggested that the Trinity test explosion might set off a chain reaction in the Earth's atmosphere and incinerate the planet. This never was a real risk. Teller knew that. His real motivation was to promote his super weapon. By planting the idea of a doomsday weapon in the mind of the military. Teller's idea was to build a multi-stage bomb. He first needed the fission power of an atomic explosion to trigger a fusion secondary reaction, harnessing the power of the sun, turning matter into energy. A lot of energy. Of course, this was too good to miss for the warmongers. Oppenheimer argued that Teller's H-bomb should not be built. The destructive power of the atom bomb provided all the death and destruction America needed. So they built one anyway.
Operation Castle, the fifth in a series of tests at the Pacific Proving Ground.
Its first test, codenamed Castle Bravo, was a disaster. Not only was the fission fusion bomb the size of a house, when it did explode, it yielded more destructive power than Edward Teller dreamed of. sadly sending radioactive material over the safe zone in the Marshall Islands and showering radioactive snow fallout over a hapless Japanese fishing boat sailing outside of the exclusion zone. The true power of a hydrogen bomb had been revealed. And by adding multiple stages to an H-bomb, you could build the ultimate doomsday weapon.
The Doomsday Machine is designed to trigger itself automatically.
But surely you can disarm it somehow?
No, it is designed to explode if any attempt is ever made to untrigger it.
But the military didn't want a doomsday weapon. A bomb hidden underground, only monitored by an IT guy and a priest, and automatically triggered by enemy action? They wanted control. And to have hundreds of atomic weapons, to give them a choice for a strike or retaliation. All the time calling their atomic weapons a deterrent. But Teller's fiendish bomb had another superpower, a volume knob. In the hands of the military, they could set 2 for a mild atomic explosion. 6 for a rather annoying retaliation bang. Or 11 for world destruction. And this brings us back to the Solway Firth in Scotland. The magic potion that can turn an atomic bomb from a damp squid into the Medusa's head is tritium. In the past, even saying its name would get eyebrows raised in the corridors of power. So Britain got to join the H-bomb club with deadly secrets shared by the Americans to the Queen's kingdom, if not her subjects. H-bombs are controlled by tritium, a colourless, odourless gas. In fact, just heavy hydrogen. Tritium is rich in neutrons and desperate to return to its normal state. By filling a bomb's hollow plutonium core with more or less tritium, you can dial in the bang that you desire. You didn't hear that. So tritium is the key, and Chapel Cross on the Solway Firth started making it for Britain. The magic potion tritium keeps Polaris and Trident missiles happy bunnies for a while.
Missile away.
Missile away.
It turns out that tritium has a half-life of only 12.5 years. That means it's 50% less potent every decade. Tritium in H-bombs needs regularly replacing. So lots was needed, and lots was made by the workers at Chapel Cross. Enter Jamie Grant on his bicycle. This is the end of May 2000. Jamie is enjoying some early morning exercise by riding his bike around his local military facility, Chapel Cross. But what he saw that day changes history. What he saw falls into the top 1% of credible UFO sightings. Because 1. Jamie has military training and is a credible witness. 2, the craft he saw breaks the laws of physics. And 3, the UFO appeared over the tritium facility at Chapel Cross. Jamie's diary from that day paints a vivid picture of what he saw.
Diary entry. I started doing early morning bike runs before going to work in Carlisle. My main route just happened to be around the Chapel Cross complex. So, on the 31st of May 2000, I started my run at about 6 a.m. and cycled on my normal route. At about 6:30 a.m, I had reached my furthest point and turned to head home down a straight road passing the tritium plant. My main concern was the road. The previous day, I nearly came off my bike when I hit a deep, long pothole. I was suddenly hit by what I can only describe as a pulse of light energy. I remember the road lit up. I stopped my bike and looked up to see a misty object directly above the tritium plant chimney. I could also see flashing lights, which at first seemed random, but as I looked, the more I realised it had 2 bands of flashing lights, but on different planes, at right angles. Within under a minute, the mist gradually cleared to reveal a grey, spherical object with no markings. I put my fingers outstretched to guess the size. Thumb too big, but my pinky just covered the object. The thing now started to move away from the plant and was moving towards where I would cycle. I quickly got on my bike and rode fast to try and meet the craft. It was now gaining height, and just before I reached the road nearest the plant, it passed above the trees. I saw it again, but higher now. It then flew through a cloud. I thought, it's gone. But I saw it again as it passed the higher, scattered cloud layer. Then it was really gone. I marked my diary as 6:35 a.m. with the UFO sighting. I got the impression this object came through time or from another dimension. I thought that because the initial flash of light and the object was not, at first, solid in form. I remember seeing the papers later that day and noticed the tritium plant in the news. As there were rumours it might close down, and I realised that was maybe why the object had appeared, maybe to check out the plant. I spent nearly 18 years working as a radio technician at RAF Carlisle, initially on radar and bombing computer repair. I had a really good idea of any aircraft at that time and can say, without any problem, that this thing was not local.
So, what do I think? I think you have just heard one of the most viable sightings of a UFO. It happened, it's real, and Jamie saw something without a reasonable explanation. And Jamie asked me to include this for you. He wants to answer the question why he's only revealing his sighting now.
Over the years, I've told a few close friends and my family, but no one else. I have always respected the CX and tritium plant and did not wish to bring any unwelcome attention to the area. But now I feel the time is right with similar UFO reports from US Navy pilots, and with the plant now non-active, I feel the time is right to share my story.
So what do you think Jamie saw that day? This has been a fun quest to help understand the significance of this sighting. I needed to take you along on a journey of connections. From the women making devil's porridge for World War I, to the shocking birth of the H-bomb, and back to Britain and its desire to build its own bomb, and how the beautiful and rural Solway Firth was used to make the tritium for Trident. And finally, to Jamie's fascinating sightings. These are journeys I like to take to make sense of the present by following the connections from the past. Join me here for future journeys. The truth is out there.